Welcome to Empowering Chats with Susan Burrell. This is where we have deep, intimate conversations about self-empowerment and future existence. I am an intuitive healer and a light leader who has been called to activate other light leaders. So I'm curious, are you one of them? So by listening, lean in and see if you are ready to be that eternal potential you've been called to be. Using your bravery, your talents, your tenacity, can you be innovative and adventurous in order to activate your light and lead from that place? This is where we learn how to love ourselves from the inside out and love the whole world over and over again. Enjoy the show. So the theme is imagination. So just sit back and listen to this story I have. An 8-year-old boy approached an old man in front of a wishing well. Looking up into his eyes, he asked, "I understand you're a very wise man. I'd like to know the secret of life." The old man looked down at the youngster and replied, "I've thought a lot in my lifetime, and the secret can be summed up in 4 words. The first is to think. Think about the values you wish to live your life by. The second is to believe. Believe in yourself based on the thinking you've done about the values you're going to live your life by. The third, dream. Dream about the things that can be based on your belief in yourself and the values you're going to live your life by. The last is to dare. Dare to make your dreams become a reality based on your belief in yourself and your values. And with that, Walt Disney said to the little boy, "Think, believe, dream, and dare." Now, isn't that a lovely story? I just find that imagination is really part of what the divine spark, our inner wisdom, is always asking us to use so that we can become more expansive. So here's the definition of imagination. Imagination, the faculty of imaging or forming mental images or concepts of what is not actually present to the senses. Forming mental images or concepts of what is not actually present to the senses. Goes on to say imagination is the ability to face and resolve difficulties. Resourcefulness. Now, I don't know about you, but that kind of feels like where we are currently living on planet Earth in humanity is finding resources and resiliency to face and resolve our difficulties. And it does take imagination. It takes thinking out of the box that humanity has shoved itself into, and different countries have manipulated and shoved their people into, and families have shoved themselves into. It takes imagination to dream and dare, like Walt Disney talked about, to break out of what you think the current reality is. It takes imagination to honor what you value and go after it. So I want you to contemplate where do you want to use your imagination? Now, it's not just about creativity, right? Imagination isn't about necessarily painting or dancing, but it's about, like it says, forming mental images or concepts. And we are at the time in humanity's evolution where we really, really do need to think of different ways of being in the world. And like Walt Disney said, we start with what we value. What do we value? And then we also check in with ourselves and reset into believing in ourselves, right? In trusting ourselves, listening to our inner guidance, the inner wisdom, following that divine spark of light that we are, and allowing it to expand beyond our personal meditation time, right? It takes imagination to resolve difficulties. So look at where in your life you may be facing some difficulties. I think everybody is at some point, right? And instead of fighting the difficulties, instead of duking it out, instead of I'm right, they're wrong, choosing sides, polarity, what about using your imagination to see if there's a new way, an out-of-the-box way, a different way of resolving whatever the current circumstance is or the difficulty that you're facing. Sometimes it takes a deep dive into the spirit of who you are, into that divinity. This is what I use all the time, everybody. I go within when, okay, I heard you out there. Yes, I'm a Scorpio and I do have to stamp my feet and blow off some steam. I do. But once I've done some of that, then I resolve to resolve the difficulty and look within myself. Where am I contributing? And how is that in alignment with the truth of who I am? How is that in alignment with what I value? How is that in alignment with my integrity? So you might even want to think about, in terms of what do you value, come up with like 4 things you value. Like for me, the 4 things I value, and it's the pillar of my foundation, the foundation of my life. I value integrity. I value freedom. I value love. I value truth. And in those 4 pillars, there's a broader spectrum of other things to look for within yourself and to value. So creating a new concept of how to deal with the external reality that we see. Because remember, imagination is about mental images or concepts of what is not actually present to the senses. So in our imagining, we are actually co-creating with source energy another yet to be, something, a new reality, something that maybe we haven't experienced individually or collectively. And I don't know about you, but I really want where we're going individually and collectively to be, okay, here's my other foundational pillars for humanity, that we join and recognize that we are connected, that we open up to collaborating with each other in connection, which means listening without judgment, which means speaking what is true for you without fear, right? And trusting the other individuals. So connecting, collaboration. So that means cooperation. We have to cooperate with each other in order to collaborate, in order to co-create the new reality that we really want to live in, based on whatever your personal values are, right? Not greed, not capitalism at the worst, not me first, not being righteous, not being vindictive, right? Those are not healthy foundations for a society or humanity or even your family. So, connection, collaboration, cooperation, and then compassion. There's a lot of co's in there. Did you hear that? Co. Co-creating those 4 things. And with compassion, that means we start with ourselves, having self-compassion. Having self-compassion when we maybe are making choices that aren't healthy for us. Having self-compassion when we maybe have like in my case, blowing off too much steam, right? And coming back to center. Having compassion for those around us that maybe don't see reality the way we do. So that also ties back in with cooperation, right? That we aren't here to compete. We aren't here to judge. We are here to compassionately cooperate, collaborate in our connection. Because the truth is, the connection that we all share is that we're all one. We're all one in spirit. We're all love. We're all light beings. And there's many people that haven't figured that out yet. So for those of us that have, I call the light leaders forward. The light leaders, those of us that see this new paradigm, that can imagine what is not actually physically there, a new reality of how to be in life, how to lead from a place of connection, collaboration, cooperation, and compassion. That's the world I want to see. That's where I want to put my imagination. And so I'm just going to read something else to you before I close out. Sit back again, and I'm sure you all know this, but I'm reading it anyway. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us, only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion, too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, just like Walt Disney, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. And so it is. Namaste.
Well, that wraps up our empowering chat for the day. I hope you enjoyed it and found it inspired you to be more empowered. If you want to find out more about me, go to susanburrell.com, my website, and you can see what we're up to. I am teaching classes again, so there's a calendar of that, and you can register. You can check out my book, Live an Empowered Life, a 30-day journey with the companion inspiration cards, or you can access my guided meditations that go through Insight Timer. We got a bunch of stuff on the website. Check it out. And until then, namaste.